Welcome, everybody, to episode 105 of the Lookout Podcast.
Yes. And we're doing it together.
We're doing it together for the first fucking time.
Incredible, bro.
100
At Anime NYC.
At Anime NYC. Listen, episode 105 for the first time. This is a monumental thing.
Yeah.
It has been over even 200 episodes of the A Show. I still have not seen Justin ever.
That's so crazy. I keep forgetting y'all never even met.
No, we never even met,
Holy
bro.
shit, bro.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
We're lucky to be here. I'm, of course, Meelz, and I'm here with JG Akotsu himself.
I am here. Yeah.
Yeah, and we're here. Listen, shout out to our also the third member of this weekend, Jamal, who had to fly back.
He did.
It's Kaya's birthday. It's his daughter's
Happy
birthday.
Kaya.
So had to do the damn thing. Listen, man, we're here at Anime NYC.
Yeah,
we got to talk about this weekend. Let's talk about this weekend a little bit,
dude.
Because it is Sunday now.
Mm-hmm.
Friday was talk about your Friday. How about that?
My Friday was crazy. I ended up working a half day at work.
Mm-hmm.
I left.
Never would have done it, but sure.
Yeah, right. I left. I'm trying to say PTO here. I left. Truly, that's what's going down. So I left. I got home. I finished packing because I did the night before. I'm irresponsible. And then I got taken to the airport. And when I got off the plane, Meelz says, "Hey, you know, if you Uber, you should be here, blah, blah, blah." We had like a little mini RNC dinner type thing.
Yeah, if you had Ubered from, I don't know, you got JFK?
I was at JFK.
Okay, right. If you had Ubered from JFK,
I probably would have made that little
RNC
dinner we had.
Mm-hmm.
But I got off the Uber, or I got off the plane. I checked Uber. Shit said like $80. I was like, "Fuck it, I'm taking the trip."
That was probably a good deal, honestly.
Really? See,
that was probably a good deal.
So look, I went ahead and I was like, you know what? Let's do this thing. Let's New York this shit up. And I got on the
train, little Mugen train.
Yeah. Which was interesting experience for me because
have you ever been on a railroad ass train?
Yeah, I have, but it's been a long time. Yeah. So. It was an experience. I got here super late, obviously, and it was nice. Like, I mean, it was still cool. I think I got to like experience the city a little bit.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But
any interesting sights on the train? Anything wild that happened?
Yeah, I mean, I saw some characters. You know, nothing specific, but I definitely saw some people, bro. Some people. But it was cool, man. It was fine. Nobody was like messing with me or nothing. But,
right.
But yeah, I met Jamal at his pop's house, and yeah. Woke up the next day and Anime NYC.
It was Anime NYC. Listen, we've been here the entire weekend. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be real with you. My body is broken.
Yeah.
My soul has been my soul hasn't been tested. It's probably been actually like a little bit even replenished.
Yeah.
Because seeing everyone kind of just so geeked out about this thing that we've been talking about for so long, like we've kept it enclosed and so close to the chest for so long.
Yeah.
And we do get these interviews with these people and we're able to talk about these things, but it's rare to kind of like go out there and kind of see the experience and see the effect that it has on people. Yes. So being able to go to Anime NYC, which is a ton of fucking people, by the way. It
is a lot of people here, but I piggyback off that, man. The experience itself, I guess it was eye-opening for me because from a Twitter aspect or from what we do on the internet, I have felt like we were part of the community, but being here really made me feel like we're in it, you know, and the appreciation of it. Everyone's been so polite. I haven't had one weird moment. I haven't had anybody like, it's just been a really beautiful experience.
This has been like the only thing. So I thought we would come to this thing and nigga, you ain't gonna tell me to wear a mask and niggas gonna fly it off. Everyone is wearing masks.
Everyone's masked
Everyone is masked up. I mean, there are a few people, but there's so many people here, and I would say about 95% of them are just masked up. Yeah. Even with their cosplay, even with all this other stuff like that. And it is freezing here, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty cold.
It's by the water. It is freezing. It is everything of the rather, man. And just to see kind of like everyone into this, like if you haven't gone to an anime con, I don't know if I'd recommend the full 3 days to you. I would recommend maybe if you don't got time, pick one of the days that you probably think is going to be. Like if we had to pick one of these days, we would probably have picked that Saturday.
Oh, Saturday was amazing. I mean, it was, we were, all day affair for the most part. I think that's probably the most crowded. I mean, even today, I went out there, kind of took a look how it's looking today, and people were out there, but yesterday was definitely was definitely an experience.
Yeah. Yesterday had so many people, and also, so there was multiple panels, and the first one that we went to was one hosted by Victoria. Shout out to the Sailor Moon Fan Club podcast.
Yes. Shout out Victoria, man. Amazing person.
I've reconnected with her. I haven't seen her in a while time. We both went to the same school, so we've known each other since then. So we've known each other for like a decade or so.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen her since pretty much City, or so it was great, like reconnecting with her in person because she's done so much for us, just in general.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she's hosting this panel filled with just Black creatives in the anime space, and seeing like Zeno, Anairis, AJ Beckles, Jordan Bentley from Hypeland, and then oh my god, I'm forgetting this my guy's last name, but from North Caesar. And seeing them talk about their experiences in the room kind of like filling up and stuff like that, and just so many people, the people of color as well.
People of color, man. Black, brown. I mean, it was a real experience.
Yeah. Joining the experience, the shit was beautiful. And then after that fact, we went to go see, I feel like we went to go see Chris Sabat and Sean Chamel live.
I honestly, I felt like a late night talk show. Like we were just there in the audience type shit. And honestly, that was one of the highlights of my weekend. I thought they were so like,
they were
fluid.
Fucking funny as fuck.
Like, bro.
I'm like, all right, so there's no, like, obviously since we started this, one of our goals is to get either one or the other on the podcast.
Sure.
I don't know where we're at currently with that. Maybe if I try harder.
It feels close.
Maybe if I try harder. But so here's a story that I heard from Victoria. So and were you there when she told the story to me?
What's up?
Remember when we met Victoria before we went to the thing, and there's this girl with the bunny ears.
Yes.
Frankie, fantastic Frankie.
She was great.
Yeah. Follow her on Twitter and stuff like that, or follow her on Instagram rather. So the story that I heard, which I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be telling this, but I'm gonna tell y'all. The story that I heard, so we had just met her, and I was like, "Oh shit, she's like cool and stuff like that."
Yeah, I just thought she was someone Victoria knew.
Yeah,
and we met her, and
you just met her and just shake her hand and all this shit like that. And I was like, "Oh shit, she's dope as fuck." And she was like, "Yo, I'm gonna follow you guys. I'm listening to you." Blah blah blah. So she does, and I actually looked on her Twitter. I was like, "Damn, you got a lot of followers." But when she left, after taking a picture of all of us, Victoria's like, yeah, she's hosting that Chris Sabat, Sean Chamel. She's hosting their thing. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, one of them recognized her from DreamCon because she also hosted their thing at DreamCon. DreamCon is the convention that RDC World 1 hosts. But by the way, you weren't there Friday.
I was not, but I heard it was
packed ass crazy. Butt to gut in there for RDC World. The kids love them niggas. Yeah, and you can, if you go to our YouTube page, you can actually see the video because they showed pretty much, they previewed their anime that's coming to HBO.
Yeah, I saw that.
So they have a live action show and they have an anime that's both coming to HBO. This anime, Dark Lights, is also, I'm not sure if this one or it's the other one, but they got Issa Rae and Michael B. Jordan on board.
Producing,
yeah. So I was just like, all right,
incredible. Well, say less. Different level.
So that was insane. But going back to the story, so she recognized them from they recognized her from DreamCon and said like, yo, what are you doing here? And she was like, yo, hey guys, what are you doing here? And he was like, yo, well, we got a panel. And they were like, yeah, we're not even sure if we have a host for this thing, I'm like, well, that's nuts.
Yeah,
like they're supposed to shit.
You
like,
guys?
Chris Evans. I mean, they might do live. I mean, they at this point, they've known each other for over 20 years.
Yeah, it was a lot of chemistry.
Yeah. So the story that I heard was necessarily like, he pretty much was like, yo, you should host this. Yeah. And then suddenly she was hosting the entire thing, which is great.
15 minutes later.
Yeah. And that's great. I think it's great for us continued like Black creatives in the space to just have that platform because she was a natural.
Yeah. Like, she was great up there.
And she was like weaving that conversation. I mean, they had natural chemistry themselves, which was the best part about it. Like they're making jokes. Like if you know Yamcha, he got his ass cut this entire thing.
It was so funny, man.
It was so good.
I take it all the way down from them just remembering her and being like, wait a minute, yeah, you do this for us because we know, which is incredible. Just like, just a person of color, like it's incredible. Bro.
It's amazing. Incredible. So, like, I don't know. Sometimes I'm like in my mind, like, yo, they don't even remember who I'm gonna be. But you know, but if you do well and you lay that groundwork, they gonna remember who you are. But that show was amazing. I think we chilled out after that. We bought some stuff.
How the New Japan stuff go?
I was there for 5 minutes. It was a little bit much.
Yeah. Okay.
I ended up staying for like 10 minutes. Like there was a person in front of me with a cape on, it was just being very obnoxious wrestling fan at this press event, and I was just like, nah, I'm not. I got to go to Survivor Series. And
he was kind of promo.
He was like, he kept standing up and chanting like, "This is awesome!" Like he literally. So Jay White is in this New Japan World thing because they're promoting their new online mobile game, and he leaves the stage, and he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" So he's really just grabbing a bottle of water. So he comes and he opens the water and he starts drinking it, and then he starts chanting like, "This is awesome!" And I was like, "No, like I'm not."
The moment it wasn't.
It didn't lend itself to that. But I understand your level of thing. But he was enamored, so I can't even like front of a fanning out. This is the fan convention,
sure.
But at the same time, it's like, yo, I can't. Like,
no, I get it, man.
Right now. So I just like, yo, I saw Jay White. I'm good. I'm a dip. Hopefully, I see him in the green room or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I end up dipping. I actually bought Pokemon Shining Pearl after it, and just
did you home. Really?
Yeah, I haven't played it yet.
Oh, okay.
So we gotta whatever Mount Silver on that is gonna be.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
And then we just had, these two exciting interviews. Well, we're reuniting with Zeno.
Yeah, reuniting with Zeno. He recognized us the day prior. Which was really, really awesome. But yeah, no, the interview with Zeno was incredible.
Yeah.
Super, just a great guy. A lot of charisma. Super fresh with how he speaks about the things that he cares about, and
I mean, that's hilarious. Victoria just told me they got strict with the green room. Let me tell you something about the green room this weekend.
Really? Why'd they get strict on it?
Because they saw niggas in there.
Look, we was in the green room getting brownies, chips, water. Just put the pass tag up and walk through. Really, not even that.
We walked through. So I remember yesterday actually. So we'd gone in the green room. Shout out to Victoria for showing us the green room. And we'd gone there because I was like, yo, I'm parched, So we went there, got water. We chopped it up for like an hour and stuff like that, just chilling in the green room. So next day I'm like, yo, we going back to the green room.
Yeah, let's just chill out for a minute. We needed like 15, 20 minutes or something.
It's that Denzel meme right now that's going on Twitter. It's like, I'm leaving with something. I'm around the way.
No, seriously, like
I'm around the way. I'm leaving with something.
I finished those chips last night. I went to sleep.
I'm leaving with something. You know what I'm saying? So we went in the green room. Of course, we all eating all this stuff and stuff like that. We're not bothering nobody.
No. I'm not going to bother somebody while they're eating their ham
sandwich.
I
did see Christopher Sabat. Yes, I saw Sean Shamel. Yes, I saw RDC World people. But
what
I mean, bothering them.
No way.
But we in there. I mean,
we deserve to be in there.
But if you let me in, I'm gonna be in there. Yeah. Like if you tell me I can't go, I'm not gonna give you no resistance. I'm not gonna be like, yo, but like, I'm not gonna do all that. I'm just gonna be like, yo, all right, that's cool. But
they got strict on the last day.
I guess so because they saw.
So maybe no green room today. I haven't tried. Although this morning I told you when I got here, I walked in fairly early. And I looked like I belonged there, so I was like, whatever. Yeah. There was interviews going on and stuff, like real interviews, like big cameras, and I'm like, wow, maybe I shouldn't be.
Okay, well, listen, tell whatever. Yo, we bringing the cameras too. You feel me? But yeah, I mean, so we did that this weekend. Listen, if you give me an opportunity to step into space, I'm gonna step in it. If there's any opportunity to just go there, I'm going to. If there's free food, for instance, I'm just going to. So that's all I'm going to say with that. That's what press should. I mean, I'm pressed, baby.
We are pressed.
Don't press me.
Press ratio.
I'm depressed. Don't press me. But yeah, like we said, we had this great kind of interview with Zeno with a lot of other media outlets. Shout out to Black Ramen. Shout out to the Dub Talk.
They're amazing.
Shout out to there was another one. There were a lot of great podcasts. We talked to Zeno. We talked to Anairis a little bit later.
She was amazing. She was amazing.
Those will be up on YouTube at some point. But right now, I'm just going to grab the audio. I'm going to try to clean it up as much as I can.
Yeah, we had a little experience during the second interview.
Yeah. I got to edit some stuff out because they said some stuff that's off the record.
Just for us.
I was like, good, that dub was trash.
Are we one day going to tell people what happened right before we started the interview with McFarlane? We don't have to say it out loud. No, it was just funny. It was really funny.
As fun. One day,
one day, man.
Yeah, man. Listen, that's all I'm gonna. All these interviews. I mean, they're about 40 minutes long each. I'm going to cut it down for clarity, so it's not going to be 40 minutes each. But we had a great time at Anime NYC.
Honestly, yeah.
And you're here in NYC, which is even amazing in itself.
I'm here in New York City, which is crazy. I used to live here for just a tad bit a long time ago. But yeah, it's been a long time. So it's been a great weekend, bro, honestly. I don't want to be like dramatic and say like life changing, but sometimes you do have to like, this is my first. Mm-hmm. It's my first convention, anime wise, just being around other people that basically fuck with the same shit that we do. And I was talking to Jamal when we were on our way back on the subway, just like, it was just 12, 13 years ago, 14, 15 years ago, I didn't want to tell girls I was watching shit like this or like really into it or didn't want to come to school in a Pokemon t-shirt, stuff like whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's just an amazing experience to just be here around people that really fuck with the same things that you do and appreciate you for what you are, and seeing so many black people and so many brown people is amazing. Everyone's been very cool, like I said, and I honestly I can't wait for more.
Absolutely,
I cannot wait for more, bro.
So without further ado, we're gonna get to the interviews, and then we're pretty much gonna get to the interviews, and we should be back next week. Hopefully, I'll try to watch.
I'm gonna watch Odd Taxi this week.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to,
we can if you want to.
I'll be in.
I was thinking though, since everyone's gonna be talking about it, Bebop.
We can do that too. I've seen about half this weekend, just kind of like in downtime.
How many episodes?
There's 10.
Oh, okay.
I believe it says 10. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it during the week. It's a Thanksgiving week.
Yes. Another day off.
Yeah. First of all, follow the Lookout at the Lookout RNC on Twitter. Follow us on Lookout on RNC Radio on any platform that you listen to podcasts.
Yes.
And have a great Thanksgiving. To be honest with you, be thankful. We're thankful for this opportunity here.
Truly.
Really get to experience this in person. We can dap on things so people know it's
actually person. Us. It's my brother, man.
Right,
I can't believe we're here, honestly, man.
We're here.
Beautiful.
And don't meet us there, beat us there. This is the Lookout.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for the interviews.
One thing for sure, I have to say thank you, because at the Crunchyroll Awards, you mentioned something, and you said that the reason anime is popular right now is because of Black POCs.
I was very scared to say that. I just want everybody to know that was not an easy feat. I was like, is this something that I should say in front of everybody? I literally thought Crunchyroll was gonna cut that, because they told me my speech should be only like 60 seconds, and I was like, 60 seconds? How am I supposed to fit everything I want to say to all of y'all in 60 seconds? So I just sent them like these 2 1-minute or whatever videos. I was like, I'll let them decide if that's what they want, or if they want me to do it over. And I was like, ain't no way they're gonna keep the part where I thank God. Ain't no way they're gonna keep the part where I talked about black people. Ain't no way. I was like, they're gonna tell me to do this over, or they're gonna like cut around it. But no, they put the whole video. And not only did they put the whole video on, they sent me an email thanking me for a marvelous video. Yeah, like they were like, wow, your speech was like actually incredible, and you said everything that needed to be said, and like we really appreciate it. So, and they put the whole thing on, so it was really cool. Yeah, but I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I was super excited. My neighbors thought something was wrong because I was screaming. We was taping it actually. We did the live, and we were streaming it, and we was like, oh my God, he said you heard it?
We exploded. That was a moment.
It was only right. It was only right. It was something that I felt like I had to do for everybody, in front of everybody, on a grand stage like that. Because I just feel like I wouldn't, that, especially the Crunchyroll Awards, that was like a lot of people voted, like fans like voted, and I think like I wouldn't be where I am without the support of y'all, and I just don't think anime would be where it is without the support. I said it in the panel yesterday where I was like, I think anime culture and how popular it is really pushed a lot by Black people. If you look around, I mean, RDC is here. Have you seen RDC's line? Have you seen DreamCon? Like, I just think, King Vader has 1 million followers. Like, that's not for no reason. And yeah, so I do think like it's worth mentioning, and even when Black Lives Matter came around, and the outlets like Crunchyroll and Funimation were even saying like we wouldn't be anywhere without our Black community and fans, and I was like, thank you for saying it, because I feel like it rings true. So I definitely had to make sure that everyone felt seen, and I was like, my kind of goal, and I didn't want to make it about me winning an award. I wanted to make it about like us winning a step toward like being seen on that kind of scale, as far as anime is concerned. So,
but with that being said, though, what do you think we need more of to get more proper representation?
I think what we really need more of is just like more people just doing it, just do whatever creative endeavor you have in the field that includes anime, like go for it. But I also think like really supporting it. I know there's like a lot of talented artists out there who are like, once you check if everything's legit and everything, who like need our support. And like our panel the other day, right? If we could fill that room, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that would be better for us. If we could get more people in more rooms, or more of us supporting more of the stuff that we do. I wouldn't be where I am without the support of people like y'all. And I think like anybody else won't, wouldn't get anywhere without the support of their peers, or someone who looks like them, who may be in a better position or a better privilege of opportunity to like give them an opportunity to do something more, and creating our own things. I feel like if no one's gonna do it, we should just do it. But we also have to like support that stuff, as long as it's like not, as long as it's legit. As long as it's everything checks out.
Oh man! All right, so a couple months ago, we talked to Mike McFarlane.
I love him.
For the casting for Attack on Titan, because it's just been amazing the way they've casted that series from top to
bottom. I thought you were gonna say like, I'm so disappointed it's not John Boyega.
No, but just amazing casting for Attack on Titan. You've been been part of that series, and I could see probably in the next like 9 months really going down as one of the greatest of all time. How do you feel about getting that role of Anyan Capone in the series, especially as we head into his 4th season? Its highest stakes, biggest moments, breaking Twitter every day.
The final season. Well, like Mike's a great director, and I think mostly everybody in the industry really like respects his artistry and respects his artistic opinions and decisions, and he cast for One Piece and Attack on Titan, and he's a great actor. He's a great like director, and Anyan Capone was a surprise to me. Because I thought that was gonna go to Gabe Kunda. I was like, I was like, no way. Like, no way is it gonna be me. Like, this is a role meant for Gabe. And then I got the call from my agent, like, you're gonna be in Attack on Titan. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm gonna be some guy that dies in like episode whatever. And like that was cool with me too. Like, I was fine with that. Because Mike had asked for my materials, I think at some point when he was casting, and I was like looking up people I could play, and I had already been like, oh, Anyan Capone, like I want that to be Gabe, so like let me look like maybe Falco or like and he was like, oh, you're gonna be Anyan Capone? I was like, oh, word, like me? Why? That was my first question. It's like, why? Because I know like the internet wanted it to be John Boyega, and I was like, hey, John Boyega, if you want to do it, like I'd like to see that. But then I know he has a very important scene, and I as y'all know, I take my work very seriously, so I was like, oh, okay, well, if it's gonna be me, then I definitely want to do as good of a job as Gabe, so I put on my best Gabe impression, and But I really, and like, I was kind of like, I was like, if it's not John Boyega, I'll try to be the next best thing, you know? Like, I voice matched John Boyega once, like, I'll try to, like, make it kind of something similar to that and similar to, like, Gabe's Timber. And, I'm actually not caught up on Attack on Titan, the manga, so, but, like, I'm hoping.
No,
He said good that I'm not, I guess good that I'm not caught up.
Only because, like,
I won't know what's happening,
It'd be a fresh experience.
Yeah, it might, you know.
But I'm hoping Al Capone gets to do more. I know he like remains like kind of at least as a major supporting figure throughout the end of the show, and so like I'm hoping I just get to do like more. Like right now he's just kind of been supporting Yelena or not supporting Yelena, and so like. I'm just hoping like I get to do more with it, but I really I just wanted to get that monologue right. The why are you so bad monologue. I knew that was smooth. I knew that was important. So like I really worked with Mike on that a lot, and was like I was like, oh, can I do that more? Oh, I want to say it more like this. Like trust me, like we need to hit this right. Like trust me, you know. Like we saw this moment on Twitter first and how they reacted, and we need to honor it in the same way in the English, especially in the English.
Absolutely.
So
he said he was very deliberate with the casting.
Yeah,
he made sure. Because with a lot of animes, you end up hearing the same voices over. Like they'll be using this and they'll be using that, but he didn't want to do that for Attack on Titan. And he said he was very deliberate in picking you and you know, everyone else who was part of this thing.
He's great. He's so nice. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, he's amazing, and it's like just an honor just to be like. Vocal data on that show. Just like even if he like never does anything again, just to, like I was in 3 episodes of Attack on Titan, which may be one of the best anime in the decade. So like I'm just really proud of that, honestly. It's a blessing in itself.
Yeah, man, I do have something I gotta ask you, man. I teased you about it on Twitter a few months ago. I don't know the process, but I really hope you get a chance at a Kotsu.
Yuta
really
in the JJK movie. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Jujutsu Kaisen. It's like my favorite manga. It's like right up my alley, like urban fantasy, cool, like pseudo magic, but not really. Like and like I auditioned for a lot of the characters in that show. I auditioned for like a lot of people on Twitter were like, "Oh, you should be Gojo," and like I auditioned for Gojo. I shouldn't be Gojo. Like none of you heard that audition. I literally didn't send it. I listened to it and I was like, this isn't gonna work. I don't know why. Like everybody thinks like I have a deeper, cooler voice than I do because I'm Hawks and Yuichi Nakamura is Gojo and Hawks, but I'm not Yuichi. So, I really I'd love to audition and you know me if it's me, you know it'll be my best work. It'll definitely be my best work to date if it happens to be.
I saw you posting a bunch of pictures. Like 6 months ago. I was like, he wants that.
Yeah, definitely. My eyes are on it. So we'll see. It might be Yuri Lowenthal or something. Who knows? Right. I had made a joke with AJ because AJ is also a fan of the show. I was like, what if like Yuri Lowenthal just came out of retirement and just like to play Yuta? Like how much of that's up for us?
Have you ever had an audition where you like walked out and you just knew that role was yours, like you crunched your competition?
I don't know. Like I'm like, have I ever done that? Like, have I ever walked out of audition and said anything other than, well, didn't get that, and be surprised when I booked it? Even mine to us, like I was like, well, probably gonna end up as no way, but you know. And then I was like, what? Really? Me? Why? And then I guess we figured out why. Crushed it? Like, have I ever left an audition and been like, I'm gonna book that? Dang it, I can't say that.
You just say that because cameras are on.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know when it's coming out, so I probably can't. I can't say that one. I will say, like, I had a feeling I would end up as Ogun. Kai was asking for demos. I don't know if this is even good advice to give, but he was like, "Oh, let me I want to hear demos." And then I knew why he was reaching out to me for demos for Fire Force, And I was like, okay, this current demo I have isn't going to be reflective of the character I'm trying to play, which is Ogun. So I was like, all right, like let me like do some I was like, I'm gonna take. So I took like my clip of Ezekiel from Carol and Tuesday, and then I spliced it with like another thing, and I was like, if anything, Ogun's gonna sound closer to Ezekiel, so like I'm gonna just put this together, and this is gonna be my specific to this call demo. So that it's catered specifically to, I think, what Kyle was looking for, since he couldn't hold auditions. So that was like my audition, as opposed to giving him a demo. I did give him a demo, but I gave him more of a demo of like, if you were holding an audition, this is what I would give you. And yeah, and then but like I didn't hear from him for a while, so I didn't think I got it. But then he was like, he hit me up on Discord. I was like, hey dude, like you're Ogun, and I was like, oh wow, like super cool. But like, I don't know. There's when I put the Ezekiel clip first, I was like, I feel like that's gonna be what he wants. So like, yeah. But like, I don't think I've ever had a moment where I like walked out and was like, I totally booked. Every time I do that, every time I have that moment, I don't book it. Every time I have a moment where I'm like, yo, I freaking killed that audition. I can't even think of who could do a better audition than me. I don't book it. It's some other guy. I think that was my UG audition. I was like, ain't no way any actor in LA. They're gonna have to be very good to beat that. And literally someone always does.
It's reverse psychology.
Yes, exactly. And every time I'm like, I don't care about this stuff. I don't even want to do this project. Whatever. No. Send. So we'd like to schedule you for the character. Like, I'm like, why? I didn't even want that guy. Yeah, it's always how that works.
Yeah, I want to know, what can you tell us about your experience on Odd Taxi and how it's felt?
Odd Taxi, yeah. Thank you. Yeah. The dub premiered this weekend, and I couldn't
That's in like 5
see
hours.
it. Huh?
We're going to that 5 hours.
Oh, it's today.
Yeah, it's today.
Oh, in 5 hours, I'm gonna freaking miss it. That sucks. I just worked Odd Taxi like maybe a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So I hope it sounds good. I haven't worked with the director before. The director is Bill Millsap, I think is his name. And I hadn't worked with him before, but I really like his directing style. He likes to get a lot of takes, which, as you all know, I like doing. So, and he has a very specific idea of like the pacing and the comedy that he wants. And it was actually very hard for me to lock in at first. I thought I was gonna get replaced. Like we did our first couple lines, like maybe like 5 to 10 times. And usually 10 takes is like unheard of. Like if I don't get it by the third take, I'm like, something's wrong. But he was really patient with me. He was like, oh, I think it should be more like this. And then later on, we caught the energy that he wanted, so we went back and did some stuff over. But it was hard for me to lock into this like specific kind of sound, comedic sound that he wanted to hear. And I don't know if that's just like my like ignorance to like theater like history, or my ignorance to like knowing enough about like acting culture to know what he was asking for, but it was the first like hour or so of our session was trying to find the character and the humor and the pacing, which is kind of different than I think any other dub I've worked on before since then. And then it became a challenge, which I really enjoyed. So yeah, Odd Taxi was really fun. It was really fun getting to like play in like that like kind of hot, like I felt like he was asking for something natural, so I was giving him natural, but I was giving him too much natural, so I had to up the energy a bit, which was also a thing I had with Hawks when I first started Hawks. So yeah, Odd Taxis was fun though. It's fun. It's been fun. Yeah.
People were talking. Man.
Yeah, I got to do the bad song, so hopefully that you guys see that today.
So I would say I'm pretty good at kind of reading body language and stuff like that. So during, I guess, the panel yesterday, which I was at, you come off like very like, I know you say you're not confident, but you come up very confident. I want to know, is it because of your like passion for the things that you're speaking about? Yeah. Or if it's just like, do you feel like kind of like even in this space, it's currently like, you know, anime, there's like these black creatives that are all coming up at the same time. Do you feel like kind of like a little bit like bestowed in now? Is it like confidence? Is it like passion? Do you feel like, you know, where does that kind of come from? Because,
I think it comes from like just trying to be truthful and honest. Like I feel like no matter what I do or say, like I have to be as honest as possible. And I think like that's kind of where that comes from. Like my honesty is how I cover for
Yeah.
when I'm like not sure.
Right.
I don't know if anybody here went to like the My Hero concert we did like here Friday night, but we did a live My Hero orchestra concert. It was amazing, and like they did like a bunch of songs from the show, and like it was a live band. It was super cool, but they wanted me to go up and speak, and I like had no idea what they wanted me to say, and they were like, "Oh, we'll leave the topic to you." And I thought they were just wanting me to be like, "Oh, hey, like I'm Zeno, I'm Hawks, like thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed the concert. I love you all. Bye." But they're like, "No, we need you up there for 3 to 4 minutes." And I was like, 3 to 4 minutes? I don't know what I want to talk about. And so like I literally just got up there and I wung it, and I got off stage, and I was like, you did great. I was like, no, I didn't think that. I forgot to say the band was amazing. I forgot to like say that this changed my life. Like I forgot all this stuff. Can we do it again? I hate myself. Like you idiot. Like Robbie Damon went up there and he was amazing. Like why can't you be more like Robbie Damon? You know, it's like so I say things and I'll get off, and even though like I'll have this air like I know what I'm doing, no, I really don't. Like I really got up there and like made it up. But then Shota, one of the musicians, we ran into each other in the lobby of the hotel. He was like, "Oh, you're so good, you were so funny." I was like, me, what? I was in the front row beating myself up for not saying that you did amazing, you know, like, so it's just interesting. Yeah, like I think that all that confidence or that pseudo confidence comes from just me being honest, like trying to be like, I don't want to like pretend or like kind of be fake and be something that I'm not. I really, and then because I do love this stuff, it helps in like being honest. My passion about this stuff helps in that honesty, but I think it's just me trying to be like connecting with everyone, with all of you guys, like on a human to human level, like, you know. But yeah, that's probably where that comes from.
Hello, Anairis. I'm Nay, representing Lost Summer Days, and since there's a lot of people here, I guess I'll just go to one of my biggest questions that I have. So, as someone who has been a fan since hearing you bring one of my favorite characters in Pokemon Sword and Shield to life, I wanted to say that I've had a greater admiration of you, like just following you on Twitter and social media because of the way you interact with your fans and the way that you're humble and you're confident and everything. But another big reason why I have a lot of admiration for you is because it's nice to see someone representing me, not just as like, you know, a fellow black person, but someone who is also LGBT, because I recently came out as non-binary.
Oh, so congratulations.
Thank you. So I want to say, if there was any advice you could give to anyone who's probably struggling in their own skin, trying to make it as a creative, or someone in the industry, or someone who just like has dreams but feel like because they are the way that they are, they feel like they can't make it.
Man, my policy has always been like, be so good they can't ignore you. And I struggled with my identity as a black person. I don't think I struggled so much with like my bisexual identity. It's not something I would ever share with my parents, because I'm just like, they don't need to know my life there. Pero I struggled with, you know, accepting myself. I struggled with even knowing who I was. And I've come to learn in the past few years that, like, who I am is okay. What I present is enough. I don't need to be anyone else. I don't need to pretend to be anything else. Like, I don't need to straighten my hair. I don't need to consider, like, you know, bleaching my skin. Like, why would that even pass my mind? Because it's like, this is me, you know, and who you are, you can't, like, get out of your body. You can't get out of, you know, your soul. Like, you are you. You are enough. And you have to lean into that beauty. So.
And oh, sorry, I was gonna ask one more question because they asked, I was gonna ask you as well. But the second question for now is relating to the previous question. How do you feel about the community that you've built up, like in social media, and people like noticing you in cons and all the cosplayers that dress up as either Mirko or Nessa or whoever? Like, how do you feel about the community that you've built up over the years?
It's still so surreal because like a lot of my work has been done in my bedroom, so it's like I feel like I don't get to really see, or I guess feel my impact until I go to these things, or until, you know, I get to talk to fans online or whatever. But especially after this weekend, if there's one thing I can take away from my community, is that everyone is so sweet. Everyone is, you know, learning to embrace themselves. I always see everyone be themselves, like wear their natural beauty, and if they ever like struggle a little bit, I always like, you know, like to remind them like, no, screw whatever anyone else says, be you, and like they accept that. And I feel like I've cultivated a community where, like, you know, it's diverse and it's loving and, you know, it's full of individuality, and I'm honored to be to do that. I mean, I'm not really trying or anything, but it's cool. You know, it's really cool.
To kind of spin off his question, and that was great. You know, congratulations to you, my friend. To kind of spin off his question in terms of just, you know, topics about like LGBTQ and all this other things like that. You started an anime called Wonder Egg Priority this year, and I think that dub went like, not that it went like underrated, but it's a very, very good dub. And I think you guys expressed yourselves very, very well, and it was great seeing like an all-front female cast doing its thing. What drew you to doing Wonder Egg Priority? I mean, it's a show that can be, I think, eye-opening, but also kind of triggering in a sense as well.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's
so what
heavy.
drew you to kind of do that show?
So, I remember seeing like screenshots of the show like around before it got a dub, and I ended up checking out the first episode before auditions were out or anything, and I didn't know what to expect, but what I got was amazing. You know, I you know, the main character, I relate with her so much, you know, and I am always about media that is honest, media that, you know, may cover like some heavy topics, but it's for the purpose of like normalizing it. And I, like, after the first episode, I was like, I want to audition for this. So I like message the talent coordinator at Funimation. I'm like, hey, if auditions go out for this, could I please get it? And I don't usually like ask for things like that, but I was like, I really want this one. And I got the audition, and I auditioned specifically for Ai and Rika because their stories like really resonated with me. They're the ones who most felt like they had a part of me that I could like cling on to. And I booked Rika, and Rika, you know, she was hard to understand because she's somebody who like, she likes to hide her emotions, and I'm somebody who just kind of wears it on my sleeve. Like I will be honest about how I'm feeling. But you know, I understand where she's coming from with like dealing with her mom, you know, not quite being in her life the way that she wants her to. I understand what it's like dealing with depression, dealing with wanting to do self-harm. Like when I was a teenager, I struggled with that. And so to be able to, I guess, channel that side of me and be able to explore it on the other side, right? Because back then I was in a dark place. I didn't think I could ever climb out. But where I am now, it's like I'm happy I'm here, you know? And I think if teenage me could see who I am now, she would be bewildered, you know, and maybe she might have tried to, you know, actually hang on even more. And I'm proud of who I've become, and I only hope that, you know, especially with Wonder Egg Priority, that people can see those stories and know that, you know, they're not alone. You know, they're not alone in any of the difficulties faced with, you know, dealing with depression and self-harm and, you know, being LGBTQ. And, you know, I love that story. I love the potential it has to impact. And I've talked to some fans, you know, out on the floor, and they're so enthralled with the, I'm happy to be a part of something that has that effect, because I think that's kind of what makes this job worth it. Like being able to make a positive difference, you know. So
we are so inspiring to people in our community who look like us, who feel like we do. It's amazing. And I just love the statement. I've heard you say it a few times now on the panels, that you want to be so good, no one can ignore you or take that away. That's an amazing statement. So can you also share with us a little about what is your regime? How do you train physically so your voice can hit so many ranges and so many great actors?
The audacity of your range. It's illegal. I can't. I'm sorry.
Exactly, but not only your voice range, also how you keep your mental fortitude to keep pushing through all the boundaries that you have to.
You know, I'm not gonna front, like, I still struggle to this day. You know, I'll have episodes where it's like, oh man, do I actually deserve to be here? Even with everything I've achieved, but I think, you know, there's no such thing as like reaching a point where you're fully confident in yourself or where you feel like, you know, you have done enough. I feel like there's always more to be done, and I'm the type of person where, you know, it's not like practice makes perfection, practice makes better, and I feel like growth is a never-ending thing, not only as a voice actor, but as a person. That's something I really strive for, to be a better person, a kinder person. And when it comes to, I guess, my range, I started when I was 11, and back then I sounded like Sailor Mini Moon and Sailor Moon. That was my voice, and I remember in the hobby projects that I would book, I would always be like the cute little girl, or I would be like kind of like the Sakura type in Cardcaptor Sakura, and that's cute, that was fun, but I would like look at the badass characters and I'm like, oh, they're so cool, but they can't sound like this. So I remember I used to Fullmetal Alchemist was like a huge inspiration, I guess, with me wanting to expand my range, because there's like so many wonderful performances and so many interesting voices as well. You know, it's not like one-to-one to the Japanese. It's like they try to do their own thing with like the voices, and it still works. Even Naruto, like Naruto isn't exactly one-to-one to the Japanese in terms of like voice quality and everything. Like you have like my guy who sounds so like, it's almost cartoony, but it works for him, you know, and I like that kind of creativity. So I think for me, I've never been shy when it came to voiceover. I wasn't afraid to scream. I wasn't afraid to play around. And so I always did. And I think that led to me just having that expanded range. And because I love characters so much, I'm a psychology major. I just love people. I always try to explore different personalities, and I think that, you know, lends to having a range, because it's like, okay, I can access different vocal qualities, but also understand different personalities. So that's, you know, the long answer to that. And what was the second part?
Oh, that was pretty much both parts. One, how did you physically train to get your range? Two, how have you kept your mental fortitude to power three?
I did it. Hi.
So we're part of Black Ramen Podcast. We're big fans. I wanted to ask you, what were the struggles that you had being a Black woman in this industry? No holds barred, no filter. We all POCs. Mm-hmm. Who we need to shut down? Who we need to not support? And if we wanted to keep it to just us, we can't. Y'all not live, right? Okay, yeah.
I'll cut the audio off.
So I resisted starting a career in the industry, because when I was growing up, I did not see myself in cast lists. I remember seeing Michiko and Hachin, which was like the first of its kind, you know, and I thought it was gorgeous, especially like, you know, being Latino, it's like, oh, look at all this Caribbean beauty, and especially Michiko, like, yeah, she had like straight hair, but then you also saw like I think her name was Atsuko, with the curly hair and everything. I was like, oh, this is beautiful, and I've never seen that kind of representation in anime before, because I'm so used to seeing white. But I saw that and I'm like, oh, I sure wish I gets a dub, and you know, it got a dub years later, and I was so excited. I'm like, who's voicing who? And it was quite across the board. And the only Black people I did see in the cast were playing like Walla. Like, they weren't playing anyone important. They were just like random people. And I was like, what? Like, that's like, it bummed me out a lot. And so I kind of figured out, even without, I guess, really talking to anyone on the inside, I figured out that, you know, there wasn't a space for us at the time. And so I was, even though I was confident in my abilities, I was afraid of failing purely because of my skin color. Because I think it's like, you know, fuck, I'm good. So it's like, how can you deny talent just because of how I look or because of my name or whatever? So I kind of just kept in my little hobbyist corner, just doing like visual novels, video games, all that stuff. That wasn't exactly industry level, but I got to audition for industry stuff, and I would never book it, which kind of like added to my bias. And I was like, okay, whatever. But I still did it anyways because I was like, you know, screw it. You miss the opportunities you don't take. So, you know, I'm not gonna exactly stop myself, but I wasn't gonna move to Texas or LA either because it's like, well, why waste my time? But then I saw Danny Chambers book the lead in, I think it's Ancient Magus Bride. She say, I never seen that before. Never ever. You know, like, at least in the anime space, I never seen a black woman take the lead, especially like, you know, a lead that was not black. And she did an amazing job. I remember like so many people were excited for her, and I was among them. And that's when I started thinking, maybe there is some space. Maybe I can do that too. But I was still a little hesitant. And then eventually, I guess I couldn't run away anymore because I ended up booking Kimono Friends and Ruby and other things while living in Florida. And like I said earlier, that shit doesn't happen. That really didn't happen pre-pandemic. They were just like, they wanted nothing to do with anyone that wasn't in Texas or LA or New York. But I ended up booking, and I thought, okay, maybe I can do this. And, you know, when I moved to Texas for the little bit that I did, I was on all studios rosters, like, within the first month, you know. So I made progress really quickly, but then, you know, I had some stuff that held me back for a little bit, family emergency. And then the pandemic happened, and then that's when things kind of blew up. But I also think there's still this struggle to keep the space open. I think there's too much of a tokenization. You know, if people, like, very often, if there's like a black character, a black male character, oh wow, Zeno Robinson, right? Because he's the popular one. You know, over at Funimation, very often, like, oh, black female character, they'll probably give it to somebody white. But if they decide to branch out, they'll probably go to Danny Chambers. And so it's like, you know, it's like, hey, we'll open the door for a little bit and then let somebody in, and then that's it. And I think that's kind of like part of the frustration, where it's like, you know, it doesn't seem like there's enough space, like there can be enough space for white people, especially because, like, you know, us black voice actors work so hard. There's so many talented people who have not been so fucking hard, still now, because like right now, you know, even with the success I faced, I still need to beg for opportunities, you know. And I think it's something that has definitely changed within the past couple of years, you know. Really nothing's started rolling until the whole Floyd protests, where everyone was getting called out. But because that was like a whole thing, it died down. And so it's just kind of like pushing, like, no, you need to keep doing this, like, don't stop doing this. And I've always thought that the best way for there to be change is to have more black people behind the scenes, you know, more black people casting, more black people engineering, more black people, you know, being in charge of like the decisions behind the scenes. Because, you know, white people, I don't necessarily think the industry is inherently racist, but I do think there's a bias, just like there's a bias everywhere else. And I do think that it's just, you know, being consistent and also encouraging the younger generation to continue even when there's struggles. Like, I will talk to people who say, oh man, I struggle to find success. There was this one guy I talked to in a class, this black guy, and he says, you know, I feel like I'm always voicing like these deep voice characters, the commercial guy, or like monsters or whatever, and I'm like, fuck that. Like, be whoever you want, you know, don't let them limit you. You are in charge of your career way more than you think. And, you know, I have my mentor, I had a conversation with him about this, and he doesn't want to audition for black roles because he doesn't want to be put in that box. He literally will say, nope, I don't want this. And, you know, it slowed down his career, unfortunately, but he's also, like, getting what he wants because, again, you're in charge of your career. So I say wherever you see active, consistent effort in having more black people or just any minorities, like, be in the scene, like, always support them the most. And whenever you don't see that, like, be like, hey, why? You know, you don't gotta, like, cancel them, but just, you know, like, question it and, like, always uplift anyone, any minority that you see that is trying to get in, because, you know, as long as they are recognized, as long as they're supported, like, you can't ignore them for long. So, yeah.
So, with the roles that you have played, what amongst them? Let me rephrase it first. So, among the roles that you've played, have you considered yourself like a fan of any of them before you were casted to play the roles? Like you mentioned earlier, of course, like, you know, you bought a Pip Club plush, so that's like an example right there. But yeah, like just sound off on like the various things that you've played that you were a fan of, that you were excited that you got, you know, role casted into, basically.
So you mean like series that I was a fan of?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
A lot. You know, when I got into like this industry, like, yeah, I was like, oh, it's really cool to be in anime, blah blah blah. But I never expected, oh yeah, in 2025, I want to be in Pokemon playing this character. Like, I was never specific with my goals. I tried to keep realistic, because when you get too specific, that's when you face disappointment, and that just messes with the mental health. But let's see, Ruby I was a fan of already. Pokemon I was a fan of already. My Hero I was a fan of already. Attack on Titan I was a fan of already. You know, it's so funny. I was literally watching Attack on Titan a few weeks before I got cast as Yelena. And Yelena I was like auto cast. Like, I didn't audition for her or anything. I was just randomly cast. And I was and I was like seeing, oh yeah, Attack on Titan is coming back. So I was like, you know, catching up because I didn't finish season 2.
Oh wow!
so I was like,
we're your friends.
I'm so terrible with finishing things. I can love a series, but I will I'm like scatterbrained, bro. But I was catching up with it, and by the time that I gotten to the final season was around the time that I was told by my agent, hey, you have a session for the final season. I'm like, okay. And I thought I would be just like a random, person number 2. Like, I didn't know what the hell. I didn't know of any future characters. And then I see like Yelena's face, and you know, she's undercover when you first see her. And I'm like, oh, who's this? Isn't this Armin? Because I didn't know because I time skip. I hadn't seen Armin. I'm like, oh, so they made him taller. Okay, he kind of grew up. He still looks, I don't know what's with the bowl cut. I'm like, shit, okay. But then Mike, the director, was like, no, this is a new character. Her name's Yelena. She's actually a big deal. And I'm like, oh, cool. So, you know, Time and Tide was like a big one. Okay, I'm trying to think of others. I wasn't a fan of Miraculous, but I did know about Ladybug already. And I think, yeah, the other ones is like ReZero. I wasn't quite a fan. I did watch it though, so it's like a lot of things is like I've heard of, or I experienced, or I was a fan of, and then, you know, years later, whatever, oh hey, you're a part of it, and it's always very surreal, because it's like, oh, I know that when I first watched this, or when I first experienced this, I would have never dreamed or thought of it. So it is crazy.
J. Michael Tatum, I don't know if you worked with him.
I haven't, but I know of him. He's cool.
It's amazing. He does a lot with writing some of these animes. Have you ever thought about writing like an anime, a full-blown anime with a studio, and just having your own set of characters and just be behind, not even voice acting, just being behind that aspect, like controlling that?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And you could pick me for a voice acting.
Hey, no, listen. One of my aspirations is to get into directing. I actually have done some casting for like some indie video games before. One that I'm working on is Hero.exe, which recently got kickstarted. And casting for that was really fun because we have like a naturally diverse cast. Not because I tried to push for it. It's more of like, you know, I made sure to listen to everybody and I made sure to evaluate everybody. And I'm not the type of person to think, oh yeah, we need this specific sound. I like listening to unique sounds and I like trying to see how things can work. There was this character, her name was Spite, and I remember the way that the writer described her character description. Like the voice they wanted was like something like Nicki Minaj, because she's like, you know, more of the hip hop type. And I was like, I mean, yeah, but let's play with it. Like, what can we do? And I remember ultimately when we were casting, they were interested in casting this white actress who had like a lot of energy, a lot of good energy. And I liked her audition, but there was another actress, a black actress, who, you know, leaned into being herself, and she had the exact same good energy and everything, just more, slightly more chill. And I was like, I like that. I like that it's more subdued. I like that she's being herself. And I remember, you know, having to have a back and forth with the devs, and because they weren't quite convinced, and they didn't like the sound. Again, not because they were racist. It's just that inherent bias. They like want to hear a certain thing. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, but like, look at her demo reel. She can, you know, sound like this. Have a sound that isn't quite like that. Like, we can direct her. And, you know, so I'm saying all that to say it's like, I like casting because I like being able to do the extra work of like selling a talent that can do the job, that I firmly believe can do the job. And I feel like, you know, that's how you get more unique performances. That's how you see more diversity. Because, you know, the cast I ended up having was a very diverse cast. We had a black girl, we had a Puerto Rican girl, we had a trans actor, and, you know, it was all over the place, and it's a really awesome cast. And so I would love to be able to do that for not just anime, but just in general. Like, I want to bring forth more diverse casts. Again, not forced, but just naturally, because I think naturally we are a diverse culture. Naturally we have a variety of different sounds, and I don't think we always have to sound white. You know, like, I think we can have characters that maybe have a bit of an accent going on. Like back in the day, like I still remember Yu-Gi-Oh with Joey's accent. Like, and you know, it's like a little weird. I'm sure people will make their jokes, but like it still fit the character at the end of the day. It still fit, and I think you can like play around with that and still have authentic performance, honest story that people can resonate with. So I definitely want to get into directing. One of my big goals is maybe being the founder of a black-owned anime studio. I would love to, you know, like Funimation and Bang Zoom, like get into that. It's kind of hard to find information about that because, you know, it's a small industry.
Based here in the States?
Based here in the States, yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
No, I want to, like, I'm a creative person. I love working behind the scenes, and, you know, I'm a psychology major. I always thought for my life that I would eventually get into therapy, and I do love that. But I also love the idea of helping people by giving them opportunities to be creative, because I think that's just an honest way to express yourself. And so I wouldn't mind like taking a step back from voice acting to get into that, but it's like so far it's not quite in the cards. It'll happen.
I'm not trying to agree, but I'm just saying, when you are playing, it's therapeutic for all of us. That's a session right there that I don't have to pay for, only subscription-wise. I'm just saying.
I'm honored.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
I did want to touch on something you said, kind of like keeping work in front of you and not like getting psyched up about upcoming roles potentially, like with all the great things that are coming, like, you know, the Spy Family adaptation to anime and Chainsaw Man, those type of things. Is it difficult to stop yourself if you're reading? Is it difficult to not, you know, kind of put yourself in a role, you know, like way early?
Oh yeah. 100%. Yeah, no, like I have like some anime that I've kept an eye on a little bit, and I'm like, oh, it'd be cool. But I try to
Titles, please.
I will not say. I try to temper expectations. I've had opportunities to audition for things that I'm like a huge fan of, and I'm like, oh crap, I would love to be in this. I would love to play this character, and I try to tell myself, no, listen. You know where this leads. You know, this will lead to depression, to being miserable. Like keep yourself focused on your work, because I just try to like send and forget when it comes to auditions. But you know, I've like when it came to like Nessa and Mirko, I spent like way too long on those auditions because hell yeah, I wanted to be those characters. But you know, I also try to be like, okay, it's fine. But I remember with Mirko, I was thinking, yo, if this goes to a white actress, I will be so petty and not watch the stuff. I swear to God. At the very least, if it doesn't go to me, go to somebody black. But yeah, it's hard to you can't control yourself. If we could, like, you know, probably wouldn't be toxic sometimes. But you know, I think though having that passion for a character, you know, kind of leads to having a better performance, because you'll like do the extra work. Because I think sometimes, especially like the anime we have now, like sometimes they're just throwaway anime. Like they really do be just some throwaway anime that like nobody will watch. And so it's hard to like put like a lot of passion into it. But when you have things like Chainsaw Man, things like Homie-san, and all these like wonderful works that are full of passion, even behind the scenes of the Japanese anime studio themselves. You know, you want to put forth that same passion, and you know, you want to be able to hit the nuances, be able to provide your honest interpretation. And you know, I watched this interview that Troy Baker did, and he says he doesn't audition for things. He has meetings. Wow. He will have meetings, which is basically like having an audition, but like he doesn't try to sell, you know, the character that, you know, the devs expect. He sells his version of the character, like what he imagines can be the character, and that kind of that ability to be collaborative, to bring yourself or to bring that much creativity into a role. That's what I aspire to do more in my auditions. I struggle with it sometimes because I know what casting directors may want, so I can lean into that, but I try to be more of myself, and I try to accept that even if that's rejected, that's okay. You know, I still did it. Yeah.
I got a silly question. Kind of silly. So, yesterday during the panel, you said you were a fan of Digimon. I am also a fan of Digimon. Yes. What would be your crest in Digimon? What would be the crest that would define you? The one that you gotta search under a rock, beat some giant elephant monster up, and they're like, damn, I found this, finally, it's all come together. Like, what would be your crest? What would you think? You can make one up too. You gotta crest of vibes or something.
Crest of vibes. I think. I mean, crest of anxiety would make sense. but I mentioned earlier, I'm ambitious. Probably crest of ambition. You know, crest of honesty, I think. I think I'm a very honest person, and you know, I try to be honest, but also me letting myself be honest, completely honest with myself, I think I still struggle with that. So I think that would work in the way that, yes, this is how I am naturally, but this is also something I need to face and be better about. So.